Jack Spade back here with you, High Noon Leatherworks, for another leather adventure. And today is part 2 of my moccasin build experiment. Yeah, if you go back and you look at last week's video, or the video before this one, I'm not sure what number it is, take a look at that. And I explain what I was trying to do. I've never made a pair of moccasins like this before, so I wanted to try it with one piece of leather. So I worked at making a pattern based around my foot. This is what the leather ended up looking like when I cut it out. And again, the whole idea was to try to make it out of one piece of leather, just because I wanted to try it. Well, massive failure. I gotta say, I think with all of my experiments I've done, my new projects that I've never tried before, this one is the first massive failure. This is what it ended up looking like. First of all, I'm not crazy about this squared toe instead of a rounded toe. Now, it does contour my foot, but then the way I wanted to do it with the one piece in the back, the heel is really strange. When you put this moccasin on, it doesn't fit too bad, but what it wants to do is it wants to open up here really bad. And I could put a cuff around here and that would stiffen that up and probably keep that from happening. But I got this far and I said, nope, epic fail, gotta stop, gotta start over. So this is one experiment that did not work. So chuck that to the side, and I'm going to pull you on in and show you what I'm going to do instead. So the one piece just did not work out. So come on in and let's get started on this new project. Alright, well, first of all, I broke down. I didn't want to do this. I wanted to do my own pattern from scratch, but you know what? There's a lot smarter people out there than I am, and I was like, I don't have to reinvent the wheel for everything I do. So got online, went to Amazon, and I got me this Tandy leather moccasin pattern pack. It was like 12 bucks, and it's got the patterns for the Scout moccasins, which is what I'm going to make, and it also has the patterns in there for the Inca boots. So we'll see how this goes. If this goes well, then we may try the other ones at some point. So I broke down, bought the pattern pack. The next thing I did was I pulled out, I'm making a size 11 men's, and I took the pieces off the pattern that I needed and I transferred them to wax paper. And I like to use wax paper because it's light, it's cheap, you can see through it easy enough, and then I can transfer all of my lines, my holes, everything I need over to poster board. And I like to do poster board because these things, they won't last, but the poster board will last and last, and I can file these away, pull them out anytime I want, and reuse them. So that's why I like to transfer the wax paper over to the poster board. And then what that does is that keeps my original patterns in my packet that I bought just like new, so I can actually pull those out and use them over and over and over. So I've got a plug, which is the top of the moccasin. If I can grab the package back up here, that's the plug right here. So that goes on top of the foot, and those are different sizes on the pattern. Then I've got, and you need two of those, one for the left and one for the right. So you see I marked plug times 2, 11. That's the size. Then you need 2 cuffs, and that's 11 for size 11. And that's what's going to fold over and go around this part that I was having problems with on the other ones, where it just was too flimsy. That's going to stiffen that up. So that's called the cuff. Again, that's a size 11. Need 2 of those. Then we have the actual moccasin. Now I've got cut one out, size 11. Punched all my holes in it, 1/8 inch holes. All these are 1/8 inch holes. And I'm actually going to be using this suede lace, and this is a gray pigskin leather, and that lace is just a little bit darker. I almost went with black, but I think that would have been too much of a color difference. So I wanted it to be a little bit two-tone, but not over the top. So I've got the right there, flip it over, there's my left pattern. And then what I did was I cut the insole, because I'm putting some memory foam insoles in there. I just picked these up at a Family Dollar. They were like $3 and something. But they're memory foam, they're Dr. Scholl's, and they should be nice and comfortable and make it nice and soft. So what I did, they have this on the pattern already if you want to put an insole in. So I went ahead and transferred that, and then what I did was I cut all the way around that except for the very heel part, so that when I made my pattern I could lift that up out of the way and I didn't lose any stability in the rest of my pattern, so that I could draw where I'm going to glue my insoles in. So it'll work on both sides. I could flip it over, pull that up this direction, draw my insole. So that's the full pattern. We've got 3 pieces per moccasin. We've got the moccasin itself, the cuff, and the plug. So I'm using 3 pieces instead of 1. Now, I transferred these poster board patterns over to the pigskin. And what I did, as you can see, is I put them side by side so that I could use as much of this pigskin leather as possible instead of wasting a bunch. I put the cuffs side by side. Here's the finished side. This will be the outside. I drew all my transfer lines on the inside. So now I'm ready to cut this out into be 6 different pieces, left, right, and the only ones that I needed to mark right and left were the moccasins themselves. So in the back heel part of the corner, I marked it R11, so that's right, size 11, and on the other one, L11, left, size 11. Then they had starting points where the plug starts on the moccasin for stitching. So I transferred that as a straight mark where I'm going to punch it, I did that in all 4 pieces, all 4 holes. That way I know where that's going to line up to start stitching. So I am to the point where I'm ready to cut this out. So I'm not going to bore you with cutting this out. I'll cut it out and then I'll come back. Alright, so I've got all my pieces cut out now. And I just used a razor knife to cut those out. So I've got 6 pieces. I've got the 2 moccasin pieces, the 2 plugs, and the 2 cuffs. Then I also, while I was at it, went ahead and used the exact same pattern. Remember I made that, I cut that insole out so I could flip it up. So I used the exact same pattern on my Dr. Scholl's memory foam insoles that I'm putting in there, so that when I put them in there they match up exactly. So I'll put those in there with some contact cement. But first, before we go there, I need to punch all my holes for my lacing. Now, I don't know about you, but when I punch a lot of holes, it makes a huge mess. I have those little leather dots all over the place. And what I've done is I tried to figure out how can I keep that from happening and easy to clean up. I take a piece of painter's tape, blue painter's tape, and just wrap it around the slot on my punch, not tight. I don't want it to clog up on that tape, but what that'll do is that'll keep them from popping out. So once it gets full, you'll be able to tell the way it's punching. Once it gets full, I'll just take this off. They'll stick to it. You can press down on the tape on the slot, take this off, it'll stick right to it, and throw it away. Put you another piece of tape on, you're ready to go. And that way you don't have all those little pieces of leather all over the place. So I've marked these per my pattern. And I'm using looks like a 3/8 inch thick poly cutting board. Another find at a yard sale, 50 cents. I don't care if it's got all these scars on it or anything. Doesn't affect what I'm using it for. I'm not going to use it for food or anything, so it works great for punching, cutting, when I'm doing leather work. So if you can find those, and I find them all the time at yard sales, thrift stores. If you can find them, they're cheap. Pick them up, keep them, save them, because you do wear them out, especially the thinner ones. So I'm going to go ahead, continue punching all this, and I'll just speed this up for you, and then we'll come back. Alright, so that completes the first, that's the right hand moccasin. So all my holes are punched, ready to go. And again, this is pig skin, so it's nice and soft. I'm going to lay that over to the side, move on to my second one. You saw me during that take off the tape, and you can see if they don't want to just fall out of there, you can take a pick or something and just push them out right on your tape, and they'll stick right to it. And then you just fold your tape over and discard it. You don't have to clean up all that mess. So it's just a little trick I've learned to help me save on cleanup time. And it takes a little bit of tape, but I've got tons of this stuff laying around. It's not very expensive. So I'll go ahead and start on this left moccasin, and I'll speed that up for you, and then I'll be back. Alright, so now I've got both of my right and left moccasin ready, prepped with the holes. The insoles are ready to glue on. I'm going to go ahead and do these 4 pieces, get the holes punched in them while I'm off camera, and then I'll come back. Alright, so there's all my pieces. Everything's punched, ready to go. The next thing I need to do is go ahead and cement or glue those insoles in. I want to do that before I start lacing it up. So I'll flip that over. I'll do this side, do the inside. This is my finished side. I'll do the inside and then let that sit for a few minutes, tack up before I go ahead and put those together. And I've got a piece of cardboard down here to protect everything else. But I can stay right inside of this line here where I drew my insole mark from my pattern onto my leather, and I'm just going lightly around the outside, stay inside that line. And I'll do that first. This pigskin accepts contact cement really well. It's smooth So and it's soft, but it seems to accept it really well, which helps when applying it. Go around the heel on that line, turn it. Notice I keep turning the piece of leather so that I can keep drawing that toward me. I don't have to be in an awkward position to do this. That's just a personal preference. It makes it a lot easier for me to do it that way. I do cutting the same way. And I'm not trying to put a ton of glue on here. I just want to make sure it's totally covered. Seems like this contact cement, that's the key to it. As long as it's totally covered, you don't have to put a ton of glue on it. And you're going to have so much pressure down on this as you're stepping on it anyway. So we'll put some now on the insole, which it's really smooth. So I can spread it out quite a bit. And these are just really cheap brushes that I bought a huge pack of them at Hobby Lobby for like $1.99 or something. They're just throwaway, you know. I just use them once and throw them in the trash. And when I get ready need another one, I just pull another one out of the pack. So they're really inexpensive, but they work great for this. Alright, so there's the first one, and the pigskin's already fairly dry, not even tacky. This one is starting to dry. It is at the toe anyway, so it's tacky. I'm going to turn it over, and here's the key: you better get it where you want it. Because once you push that down on there, it's gonna stay. Can you get it off? Probably, but you might tear something up getting it off of there if you wanted to remove it. And make sure I have good, solid contact all the way down. A lot of times I'll take my mallet and go over the whole entire piece to make sure I have perfect contact. I'll set that one aside, pull the next one over, the left, and we'll do it. I'll speed this up a little bit. Alright, so this one's prepared now. Again, want to make sure it's exactly where we want it before we press it down in place. take my mallet again. That just ensures I have really good contact between that memory foam insole and that pigskin leather. So there's my left, there's my right. Here's my plugs for the top, and then here's my cuffs that'll fold and go around the moccasin at the top and the heel. Alright, so that was a lot to do in one video. That's why I did some of it off camera. But there's all my pieces ready to assemble, and check out the next video. I'll assemble all those pieces into a final product, and looks like we're going to have some nice moccasins. Hey, the first science project or leather project that I did with the one piece, it just didn't work out. Not like I had planned in my head. So sometimes things just don't work. So we'll go this direction. I think these are going to look awesome. I think they're going to turn out great, and I think they're going to be very comfortable. So come back, check out the next video. We'll wrap this up, and we'll have a finished product. I thank you very much for watching. Please check out some of my other videos. Comment, like, share, and subscribe. And I'll see you next time.